right, everybody. We've got another very special guest for y'all. Everybody, please welcome back to the show after we determined a 3-year hiatus, so far too long. Mr. C.J. Hudson, welcome back, man.
Oh, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So, I was trying to determine before we were recording. A few weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago, we had a few of your partners at Summit Comics on the show. So it's really cool to have another person involved with that here so we can get kind of another point of view, especially since your name popped up during that as kind of the impetus of it. So I guess a great place to start, because we're here to talk about Summit Comics. I believe it's their first issue outside of Pinnacle for Granite Powerless #1. But I would love to hear from your point of view, since everybody kind of said that your post on Discord was kind of what set this whole explosion off. How did this all start for you? Like, what state of mind were you in? Like, what made you post it? Did you think this would just be a fluke and nobody would pay attention to you? What were you going through in that moment when you suggested this thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. It started with us talking about how costs are so high to make comics, and there's just not a lot of help for people. The entry point is really, really high. You have to have some money. You have to have a partner, maybe an artist partner that's willing to kind of front some pages to get it kickstarted, and it was detouring people from making comics at a good speed. And then I just kind of said, it could start at the very basic level. I said to Travis, and this is via Discord, you have a superhero book, and I have a superhero book, and Devin does too, Devin Arscott. Why don't we at least just have common branding, and we can say that they exist in the same universe? They don't even have to meet. They could be in the same world. Like, you don't have to do anything together, but why aren't we just making these more marketable? Because as these stand right now, superhero books are probably we're gonna struggle to fund on Kickstarter. Upheaval didn't do great. Devin and I didn't do spectacular on our own either when we first kickstarted Granite and Noir together. And we even had some common branding, but we didn't really say that they were in the same universe. And then all of a sudden it just sort of exploded, where all these people in Travis's Discord were saying, oh, I'd love to be a part of that. I have a superhero. I want in. And then it kind of morphed into this, well, let's have common branding, into really kind of like a wild storm or like an image type of idea, where everybody was like, well, we could have this whole universe. You have your own book, and then we could build all these things in it. We could have, Summit own characters if we wanted to. We can have all these rules around engagement with sort of a partnership and board of directors and leadership team that can, sort of drive things. We have somebody in charge of the narrative. So it kind of went from just like branding into this whole other thing, which I think is really cool. We went really, really fast, but ultimately it's worked so far. It's been really, really positive, even though we have 20 partners and I think close to 30 total creators working on this thing. Everybody is driving their own initiative, but we have a common goal of making superhero comics together.
Yeah, and I love to see the passion behind it too, because I think Brian Wolf, one of the artists for I forget what book he's doing now, but
he's got 3 that he's got to work on.
There's one that I really want to check out when it comes out. It's like the spy team book that he had.
The go-to guys.
The go-to guys. I think that book sounds so cool. But he's kind of he's the front man for you guys, because his passion for this, it feels like he's, I know he hasn't quit his day job, but it feels like he's quit his day job and just been like, this is it. I'm all in on this. I see him posting all the time about it. I see him making these. He's telling me behind the scenes, he even said in the interview, like, never done an animation in my life. I just sat down one night. I was like, I'm figuring this out because we need an animation. This would be really cool to do. And now he's making animations all the time. I see that passion for a few of you guys, but he seems to be like the poster boy for that, for what you guys are doing. I love it. It's so great to see the passion.
Yeah, we created a character together with another guy in our group, Ignacio, because we wanted sort of like the Superman, Hyperion, equivalent type character. So we created that and had sort of a really crazy backstory. And then Travis wanted a 2-page short that I wrote over the weekend, just last weekend. And Brian just busted out the pages within 2 days, and he's sick, and has a family at home. I'm like, dude, you are unreal. Like, we need to get you unlocked for like a 10-year contract. We can pay you what we pay you now, which is nothing. But and he was like, I'll take it. Yeah, there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of guys that are just like putting in the hours to do this without any compensation right now because we believe in sort of the greater good that we're stronger together.
Yeah, definitely. And what I wondered, I don't believe I really asked this to the guys before, and I'd love to hear from you because, as you say, like you're in a shared universe and all these characters together, but we can do our own thing. And I think of, I mean, this is the history of comics, but to put it in today's perspective, if you look at Absolute, we just got done seeing Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Batman meet for the first time, and everybody's excited about these two issues where characters have been around for 80 years, but like these reimagines of them, we're all excited that they finally met and they like have a team up. Have you guys thought far enough where what's what's like the first crossover, or like how are we going to handle doing team ups, or and are we going to have an Avengers? You know, what's our Secret Wars? Are any of these conversations happening right now, or is it really just focusing on the here and now? Like, let's get this thing rolling and then figure it out as we go along.
Yeah, kind of both in a sense. Like everybody's developing their own books, but we have sort of the leadership team working on events and a team book. So there definitely will be both of those, but they're going to come about a little bit later. We're already starting to see characters kind of meet up a little bit, but most of the introductory issues are everybody just kind of establishing their own characters and establishing their ancillary characters too. Like I already have a lot of superheroes in the Granite side of things in Los Angeles that I've sort of built out. I have Valorian in there that I created with Ignacio and Brian, introducing him as just sort of coming in and establishing him in the universe in issue 2 of Powerless. But yeah, we do have a lot of plans. We have our team book. We have like a whole list, this whole database that we built out that Adam made of characters and teams that we're just going to start drawing from. Now we're working on villains because we realized we didn't have a whole lot established, so we've just been dumping in all these ideas that we've had over the years. Like I've had a binder since I was 10 years old of all these villains when I first started making, comics back in the day. So I've busted that out and I'm like, oh yeah, here's somebody that's sort of like, a sniper that can see through anything. And we've got Pete Collins that's been doing design for us, and he liked that idea, so he busted out a design really quick. So yeah, we're just kind of like firing on all cylinders, but also kind of figuring it out too. Like we've got multi-year plans in place for Pinnacle, and then several launches coming. Like Upheaval's coming next, right after me. But yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Is there like a lore captain? Is there somebody that's their job is to make sure that
That's
continuity
Adam.
sticks?
Yeah. Adam's definitely our guy. He's our chief creative officer, and then Devin Arscott, our editor in chief. That's a lot of his forte too. I serve as the CFO, so I'm doing all the money, like kind of getting the Kickstarter up, got our banking set up, and then Adam does a little bit of that as well. He set up our LLC, and then Travis is obviously our CEO, and we're gonna hopefully push into other markets eventually. Like we want to be in Kickstarter because we know where that's the nut is. That's where we're gonna make our money. But that doesn't mean that after we fund that we couldn't push out a different cover into the direct market or a special issue into the direct market. Maybe look at international. There's some different ideas that he's throwing around to help give us different revenue streams.
Yeah, I know I've talked to a few people behind the scenes about in the Kickstarter space about like translation deals and what that entails and getting
Yeah.
it into different markets. And it's crazy that like it's crazy that I think of someone like Travis who I met when he was doing Broke Down in Four Dead Bodies,
Yeah.
and was like just this guy who like wanted to make a comic and thought this would be cool to try, and now he's like the indie god CEO of Summit Comics, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
and
pretty
he's doing
nuts.
this thing, and I'm like, I remember when you were just some dude, like you were doing your first
Yeah.
book, and I invited you on the show that I had, and it's crazy to watch some of you guys grow and just doing these amazing things. But yeah,
Yeah. He's
direct. Oh, go
perfect
ahead.
for the job. Oh, he's perfect for the job. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like he's a name and he's a great representation for us.
yeah. And you talk direct market. Have you looked into what that entails? Because I do think at the end of the day, that's kind of where Summit lives or dies in like the mainstream. Like getting into the direct market and into people's hands, there's always a sensation for superheroes in the direct market. Those books are always what are leading everything, fortunately or
Mhm.
unfortunately, whatever your perspective there is. Have you kind of dug deeper into that and what it would entail to get in with someone like Lunar or Penguin or, God forbid, whatever's left of Diamond?
Yeah, that's another good question because I don't know that we would want to publish them on our own in the direct market. We might want to partner with someone that already can do the distribution for us, like a massive indies or another small press, comic book publisher that might say, oh yeah, we'll co-brand and everything. We can put Summit on these books, and then we would just make sure that it would be a unique experience. I'm very big on everything that I've done. If it's a Kickstarter, it has a certain set of covers, and if it's a direct market book, it has a different cover.
Yeah.
Maybe you have two, but I want those to be different experiences for people. Otherwise, I feel like why would the consumer care? Why would the shop care? It's literally the same thing with maybe a different logo and a different price point. That's not really fair to anybody. But if you can make it a unique experience, like I did that with Tiny Island, I've done that with Interstellar Dust and a few other things where publishers are willing to say, "Oh yeah, well this looks different and it's a totally, it's the same book, but there's a reason why somebody would try to get this too because it has a different cover." It If we just went into the direct market and didn't crowdfund, I think we'd be toast and we'd be talking in 3 weeks and you'd be asking me what happened, CJ. So there was all this hype around Summit, and we might have done really well on the first issue, but we would struggle on the next two. There's not enough of an audience there, I think, for sustainability to cover your costs. You can do that on Kickstarter, but in the direct market, I think that that's sort of the icing on the cake to get a few more eyes on it. And then maybe that tide can turn where you can say, oh, we actually can cover costs. But for now, we're very much Kickstarter first. We're always going to Kickstart first, but I would love to see us do some sort of additions in the direct market to expand, to your point, to get more eyes
Yeah.
on our properties.
Yeah, I feel like the direct market is an obvious move for you guys because I shouldn't say you live and die by the direct market. That's the wrong way to put it, but your growth, I think, like the
100%.
the huge growth lives and dies in there because yeah, I know there's people at my shop, including the owner of my local shop, who they don't care if it's a superhero, they're buying it. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who it is. And I know there's a lot of those people. They just love superheroes, and that's all they're going to buy. And I think of Daniel's book, American Dream,
Yeah.
and I had talked to
Good
him
book.
about it a few times on the show. And then I went to my shop and my local, and literally I walk in to go buy my books, and the local shop owner is reading American Dream when it came out from Band of Bards one day, and I'm like, yeah, because it's a superhero book, and he's like, I'm gonna check out every superhero book,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's a
yeah,
great book, and some people just it's primarily what's in the direct market.
yeah.
We talk
Oh,
about how Kickstarter is primarily, maybe not safe for work comics, but primarily in the direct market, it's superhero
mhm.
books. So there's definitely a reason to try to get out there, and I think there's a reason to try to look into international markets too to see if there's any way we can translate to go into different countries where comics are still popular.
Yeah, it's all different people reading it. Like there's people who will go to the local comic shop every week and buy their books, but won't even look at Kickstarter. I'm not going to do that, and vice versa. And then
Yeah.
yeah, there's just, I mean, there's that. There's also markets like I think of the Mexican market where there's that infamous story about Spider-Man where they didn't want to kill Gwen Stacy, so there's a whole different continuity for Spider-Man down there because
Yeah.
they wouldn't kill that character, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you know that they care about their superheroes too. Like there's people
The
everywhere.
UK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very cool. And so you last year came up with Granite, and like you said, you and Travis doing Granite and Upheaval at the same around the same time was kind of what blew this all up. What was the first Granite book all about? Because I know that's different from the book that you're kickstarting right now, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Granite separation anxiety, that follows Granite, the superhero, kind of the celebrity superhero of Los Angeles, and she's this sort of hard drinking, partying type, tries to monetize being a superhero as best she can. Will do, any endorsement deal, will fight anyone, take pictures with, people, date celebrities and everything. And then all of a sudden, she finds her powers came about through a freak accident, and then she finds her powers destabilized. She was just sort of this like schlubby person before, and then kind of becomes this like rock hard, like Wonder Woman-esque goddess in a sense, and then her powers sort of evaporate, and all the stone is like comes off her body, and she's just back to normal again. She's like, oh my god, what the hell happened? And then her stones actually like reform into this own sentient sort of like mindless creature. And at the end of separation anxiety, she's like, what the hell? Like, and that's where it kind of cut off. And then in Powerless, we find her separated from her powers, living with Dr. Psionic, who's this guy who really talked a lot of shit about her before, being that she used to just monetize being a superhero, but now she's kind of on her own. She's lost all of her endorsements, kicked out of her house and everything. So he's trying to help her and sort of find a way to get her powers back. And that's where we find her at the beginning of Powerless. And then all of a sudden, the city of Los Angeles is attacked by a group of villains, the Iron Rift, that she has fought previously. And the city finds itself sealed off from, or I guess City Hall and the surrounding area finds itself sealed off from the rest of the city. So she's sort of trapped in there, with by herself, not knowing what to do and how to fight these villains. So that's sort of where the Powerless arc of the new series picks up.
So separation anxiety sounds kind of like her origin story, getting us to the point where we can tell.
Yes, that's like
story.
the one-shot origin where you find out who she is, where she came about. That's the introductory issue that I launched with Devin Arscott when he did Noir, and we launched those together a year, maybe 2 years ago. And then I had sort of a cutoff point, and then you fast forward just like a few weeks, and you see where she's at after separation anxiety. Now, separation anxiety is getting a reissue through Summit. It has a brand new cover, and I loaded it with backstory content. So I ran a writing contest last year to pick three, or I guess six winners, and I would then pay for art for all of their stories, four pages each for the winners to put in the back issues of Powerless and Separation Anxiety, so that way I could load them with some more content. And that was really fun because I got to read over 100 different submissions from people, and I did that because I wanted to make sure that the reissue was a little different, not just a different cover, but I wanted to load it with a little bit more content. And I've got a lot of great creators in there, like Jimmy Gasparo, and Alaire Rockacott, and like just a lot of really good, writers and artists.
So how many pages are these issues? If you got a full story, which I'm assuming is 22 pages, and then
22.
some backup pages.
So separation anxiety is a beast. It's 40. Oh god, so what is that? That's 12. So 22 and then another 12. So that's 36. Or excuse me, separation anxiety was an oversized issue. That was 32. So it's 44 pages separation anxiety, and it's 32 pages for Powerless, because I also have the other three backup stories in there.
Very cool. So people are getting a nice bang for their buck in those issues then.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, different artists and different writers telling Granite stories, and they all take place prior to her losing her powers, so you kind of see what life was like for her prior to actually, going through this huge issue in her life.
And I think I asked the guys this about this too, but it's just, and I might be the only one nerdy enough to care, but how does, since you're the CFO, actually you're the best one to ask this, how financially does it work? Because you're doing this on your own Kickstarter page. Do you, like, if you're a Summit creator, are you paying like a stipend to put the logo on it or something? Or
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
oh,
so basically, you kick money up to Summit, and it's not an egregious amount of money, but that money goes to Summit because you used our branding for your superhero book, and then you kick that up to Summit, and we can use that then for Summit ran projects like Pinnacle. So we can use that money, for covers or whatever we want. Most of the creators in Summit are partners, so that's really your money anyway.
Yeah.
And we all decide on how we want to spend that money. So those campaigns, granted, could be run on my own and I would kick the money up, or let's say if I was a creator and I felt like it would be better to be used on the Summit Kickstarter platform itself, like if I wanted to use it on theirs, well, Summit already has that money and it would be the opposite. They would take their money and they would kick the rest over to the creator. I think it's about 50-50 right now in terms of who wants to run it on their own. Somebody like Travis, who already has like a pretty good following, he doesn't really need the Summit brand to do it. And it also frees up the Summit Kickstarter page to run things like Pinnacle or help out other creators that might not want to, run it on their own. So I think we're about half and half, like I said, right now in terms of who's doing what. But yeah, that's exactly it. It's you're kicking a little money up, and it's tiered. It's based on how much you bring in, and then there's a cutoff point. So it's not like you're gonna pay $10,000 or anything. Right now, our fees are pretty low because we want to give everybody the best opportunity to succeed.
And so you could see down the line where the Summit Kickstarter page will have single issues outside of the bi-monthly anthologies.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that eventually. I don't know that Granite or Upheaval will move over there, but you'll see branding for us. Like it'll say, Summit Comics or Summit Comic Presents or something like that. Well, you'll know it's a Summit comic, and there'll be heavy promotion from Summit. But then you'll also see on the Summit page itself, the Summit Kickstarter page, maybe you'll see something like Adam's character or Brian's go-to guys. Maybe that is going to be done on the Summit page itself. And part of that is to make sure we can cross-promote if we want to do 2 books at one time like we're doing right now. And some of it's just timing to ensure that, okay, like, God, we really need to get going on the next one and launch now. But you can't launch 2 at the same time. And maybe there's very little crossover, but you have to be strategic to ensure that you get that launched. So we want to make sure we weren't holding anybody up as well.
Yeah. It's got to be huge for you guys how well Pinnacle is doing, because it's still live, everybody. Because it's future free advertising. Like you got all these people that are now on a Kickstarter based mailing list. So like when I think that's how I found out about Granite publishing was I got that email. It said, "Hey, our first solo issue of Summit Comics is out. It's Granite. It's from CJ. Go check it out." And yeah, what is Pinnacle at now? I haven't even looked at it since.
I think it's at 23K, so we're more than double. I think we'll probably end. We have a little bit. I think we have like 9 days left. If I'm a betting man, I bet we end 25, 26K.
Yeah, and so today, as we're talking, you have a captivated audience of 427 backers.
Yeah,
like
that's
that are
awesome.
guaranteed to at least see that the next project is coming out when you send that email. That's really cool. Like.
Yeah, it's pretty great. We were wondering how well Granite would do comparatively. It can be, you're asking a lot of people to back 2 things at one time, so we knew that it wouldn't do 20K, but, we're happy it's covered its costs, and now we're just, banking on some other people to come along with us.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me, like you said, that more people don't do something like this, because I just look at the free advertising here. Like we said, the 427 people, and then you have 118 backers right now. I'm sure a lot of them were also backing Pinnacle, but I mean, you have people backing Granite before Summit was a thing. So there's probably returning people in that 118 that aren't a part of Pinnacle, that are just CJ guys or just Granite people or whatever, coming back, and now you can send an email to send them to Pinnacle or whatever the next thing is, and then that just grows and grows and grows as we go on, because the more campaigns, it's amazing to me that nobody else is doing this. Like everybody's so staunch and like, no, we're not teaming up.
Yeah, you've got everybody tweeting and doing stuff on Instagram, so you're just getting a lot of help and support that way too, where everybody is trying to help each other, because it's all of our campaigns really, because like I told everybody when I was launching, I said we need to treat every campaign the same, like, because it all goes back to Summit in a sense, because I'm paying my fee, and the more money I make, the more money I'm going to give to Summit. in the end. So it helps us all. That's another couple covers or something that we can utilize for our next campaign. Eventually, we'd love to get to a point. I don't know if it's feasible, but my dream is to say that Summit will start advance paying for pages on things. We'll take the creator out of the money game completely, and we'll say, here's your budget for this. We can give you a cover to start, and we can pay for the first 10 pages, and then someone can get reimbursed that after the fact. The artist gets paid, and let's say it's a 22-page book, and you just budget it all out. That's my dream, is to say that the writer is no longer on the hook for anything.
Yeah.
And with that, we can attract, more talent to come in, more writers that are, have great ideas that might want to join up and say, yeah, I'd love to do something like that. Are we there yet? No, but we're very close to saying we can afford to pay for a cover for everybody. Like we're going to net out a good amount of revenue right now that we could probably say that in the short future, oh, you have a book, like we'll give you a cover for it. And that would be tremendous for somebody that needs 3 to 4 covers to launch.
Yeah. And then I see like on your Kickstarter page now, you've got the man who's doing everything, Brian Wolf, doing a print for you as well. That's like Summit Pinnacle based.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at it, it's like, it's got all those characters you're seeing in all the advertisements that Summit's talking about. But it feels, based on what you've been telling me about Granite, it feels like he took the soul of what Granite is, which is kind of that celebrity, pseudo looking for attention online idea of her and people taking a selfie with all the other people in the background. Like, it's cool that he took everything that you guys are doing, but made it feel like a Granite thing. So for the fans of that,
yeah, he's been awesome to deal with, and to help out on these things. And we knew that. I'm a big believer, if you're going to cross promote, you should offer something to somebody. I do that on all my campaigns now, that if I'm partnering with somebody, we need to have something to offer. Like, you can always tweet out and give an update for somebody and say, hey, my buddy's doing this campaign, check this one out too. But you pick 1 or 2 that you're all in on when you launch, and say, this is who I'm heavily promoting with, and if you back both, this is what you get.
And who's your main artist on the book?
So Fritz Cassis has done both issues, and he just finished wrapping the art on issue 2 of the new series as well. And then I'll get him the script for 3 here in a little bit. But he'll be the artist for a while. He's been great, busting out pages.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know, like, is this another person you just found online, talked to, and was like, I like your work, and hired him?
Yeah, years ago, I just saw him and said, God, he's got a great superhero look. He did some design work for me for some characters, and I was like, do you want to do some, like, a short story? And then he did that, so we've done a couple of Granite shorts together, and then we've done 3 full issues now that he's drawn with Separation Anxiety and Powerless issues 1 and 2. So yeah, he likes the book, and I do everything arc-wise, so it's like, if I can get somebody to commit to, a 3-issue arc or whatever, I don't know if he'll always want to be on it, and it's fun to mix up artists too. Maybe he'll want a break, but for now, he's the guy.
Yeah, I love his art. Like, it's, like you said, it has a real superhero feel, and also he has a good sense for action sequences, like those slow-motion action moments. I'm looking at the page here where it looks like your villain with the guy with the mohawk and the spiky shoulder pads.
Oh yeah,
just walking away from a burning truck, and it's just like, it's so perfectly framed, and the motion he has in it, and he just understands it. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's fun, and he likes when the artist is into it. I feel like you get a lot out of it, because Granite is very much like the comedy of She-Hulk, but like, it's a mature book. There's not like nudity or anything, but there's swearing in it. And there's a lot of violence. I was like, I really want like She-Hulk meets the Authority. I feel like there's a market for where people really want, like, oh, this guy had like, he exploded. And I'm like, I think they want to see him explode. So can you draw that? And he was like, yes, I love it. I really want to do something like that. I'm like, okay, well, this in my book is going to be a little bit more mature. We have all ages books, but if you want something that's like a little bit more Authority-esque, then you can come check out Granite.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny, as you say, like, there's no nudity, and then I scroll down to the page where it's pixelated, everybody, so he's not lying, but it's her, it looks
Well,
like
there's
she
a little,
posted something
yeah.
online or something.
Yeah, yeah. There's a little bit for humor's sake, but I should say it's not like it's light. It's like
Yeah.
I say it is R light. We don't put nudity on the covers anymore. I should say that the original Separation Anxiety with Devin, we had a flops cover, and she's fully nude on it, and it's
Hmm.
since sold out, and I don't have any reissues. I'm not going to reprint it or anything because I don't reprint covers anyway. But it flops is a very popular cover artist, and that issue now goes for huge money on eBay. I saw somebody slabbed it, and it was like going for $250 on
Damn.
eBay.
Do you slab any yourself, man?
I kept one issue for myself that I haven't slapped because I keep one issue of everything that I write for every cover just because I want to. But yeah, it's all sold out. Can't get it on my shop anymore. And I love books like that though that have just a small print run like for a specific cover. And it's like, oh well, if somebody wants to sell it and make money on it, great. Have fun with it. But I was really excited to see that it goes for big money on eBay
Yeah. And
because I'll
I'm
never do it again. I can't have her be nude again with our summit rules.
well, it's funny, like I'm not one for those types of covers. Like
Yeah,
it just, not my style.
sure,
But Flops's cover for this issue, which is a risque cover, don't get me wrong,
sure.
but it's not fully nude as you said. But damn, it's a great fucking cover, man. Like,
Yeah, she looks really great, and that's who Granite is. She's sexy. It's not a porn book. It's just it's a mature read, and it goes along with who the character is. So like you'll see sexy covers from me for sure. Like I'll have Flops do more covers in the future if I can get him. He's so busy, but if I can get him, I'll definitely have some. But I definitely lean into that with the character because it's who she is. You'll see action stuff like with Benjamin Morse there fighting all the, Granite fighting all the villains,
hmm.
and you'll see some pinup stuff. But I'll throw in some sexy stuff too because I know that people want to see that with Granite because that's the original Flops cover. Which yeah, I'm sure if you search Granite Flops on eBay, you'll see it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that stuff it's popular and it's hard to get away from.
Yeah, it is what it is. Sex sells. People want it. Like I
Yeah,
said, I
yeah,
don't understand it, but it is what it is.
yeah,
So I got to ask. You've said She-Hulk a few times as like one of the comparisons. Are we looking at a lot of like fourth wall breaking kind of stuff, or how's the comparison to She-Hulk for you?
Just that she's just a fun time and just a heavy, right? She's the brawler. She's a big character. There is no fourth wall breaking stuff though. It'll be more of a straight superhero comic. Partially because I don't want to be too, in the comparison. She's very much living in this world, and she's not talking right to the reader or anything. She's not a lawyer. It's more of like the body type
Hmm.
where she's a heavy. All she really has is durability and super strength.
Okay. Yeah, because that's for me. I and people feel free to disagree with me, and a lot do because Deadpool's huge. I hate the fourth wall breaking. Like I cannot stand it in my comics.
I can take it or leave. I think She-Hulk did it really good during the John Byrne era. I thought that was really fun. If you haven't checked that out,
Hmm.
the She-Hulk era with him or with her was fantastic. He did like 20 something issues on there, and I loved it. And honestly, I don't read a ton of Deadpool. My favorite Deadpool was actually the more mature one that Lapham did, Deadpool Max. Like, I don't know when that was, like 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And I don't even know that he broke the wall during there. He was just pretty crazy and, kind of a loon, and like he always is, but I thought it was a really fun arc. So yeah, but I could definitely see it kind of takes you out of it too. That's
Yeah.
where like over comedic elements in like some of the Marvel movies take me out of it. Like I know everybody loved Thor Ragnarok, and I didn't like it that much because like I felt like in the most serious moments when shit was going down, a joke happened and it kind of took me out of it. And then, Love and Thunder took that to the nth degree and made it like everything is just a joke then, and like nothing is serious. How can you like get into the action and be like, oh my God, the stakes are so high?
Hmm.
So in that vein, I kind of, does it kind of take you out of it? Are you kind of like, oh shit, like I'm not into the story anymore because he's talking to me.
Yeah, it's a little of that. I I don't feel this as much with She-Hulk, but with Deadpool, I just find him obnoxious after a while. Like I
Yeah.
have to have small doses. That's why I kind of like him as a side character. As like I always say, I know a lot of people didn't like this, and I still don't really understand. I thought it was a great series, but Secret Empire, Deadpool was part of like the main story because he was part of
Mm.
Steve Rogers' Hydra Avengers, and his whole like arc of Deadpool's always done the wrong thing, but like Captain America's not wrong, like can't be wrong. I'm gonna team up with him this time, but through
Yeah.
him trying to do the right thing, he's still doing the wrong thing. I was like, that was a cool arc for him, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
in there just enough where like I liked his arc. I like him being there. I enjoyed him as part of the story, but they didn't having him as the focus of everything. And I feel this way about a lot of characters. Like I think that's one of the things that you guys are going to find as you go along, and I think just as readers, we know intuitively certain characters don't need their own series. Certain characters don't need their own solo series.
Yeah.
Just you have to be very strategic in how you use your all of your characters because listen, we all love it's really tough to pull one up. Everybody loves Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter's been part of the Justice League forever. A lot
Yeah.
of us as comic readers love that character. His solo books never do that well.
No.
He's not a solo character. He's a part of the Justice League. Like that's who he is. He's good for a good team up once in a while. I just got done reading the original Lobo series from the '90s,
Yeah.
and I kind of left that with like awesome art. Really enjoyed that part of it, but realized like Lobo is a character that I prefer him to show up for like a 4-issue arc with character X and then leave.
Yeah.
Him on his own doesn't really do it for me. That's a
Yeah.
taste thing for me, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that throughout our comics. Like this, we especially the big two try to push everybody as their own thing. So
Yeah.
actually, is a good way to kind of twist that into a question. Have you guys really delved into that at all? Like, if we do our Avengers team, like these characters are going to be great for it, but maybe not so great as a solo book, or maybe they just get a one shot, or how's divvying up the solo books been for all this?
Yeah, people kind of have to pitch that, and we got to make sure that it can fit in there, and is it going to do well? Like I've got this character in Granite Synthesoid, which is this robot basically, artificial intelligence, and everybody in Summit really likes Synthesoid, and Devin Arscott really wanted to write a backup, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty game for anybody to write any of my characters. I'm like, yeah, go for it. It's like he's a fun character. I think we're gonna put him in our JLA team book equivalent, Avengers team book equivalent, as sort of the robot character. I don't know that he could ever have his own ongoing. Could he have a one shot every once in a while? Yeah, probably. But I mean, he's this like puffy looking. He looks kind of like Baymax from Big Hero 6 a little
Okay.
bit. Like he's that kind of character, and it's like, I mean, he's kind of fun looking and everything, but I mean, he's just this sort of like droll artificial intelligence. I don't know what you could do for an ongoing series even. Like I've kind of thought of some things for like a fun one shot, but I'm very much realistic where it's like, okay, is this character marketable and are we going to do well? Because we have to protect the brand too and make
Yeah.
sure that we're not just dumping everything out there, and everybody has a lot of different characters. But maybe it's better to put them as a backup in Pinnacle or our other anthology that we're talking about doing, and maybe it's just a better avenue to do 6 pages every once in a while, or have it serialized as 6 pages that could ultimately lead to like a longer issue, and then you could reissue it later. So there's a lot of strategies, but long and short of it is
I,
no, like we got to be protective of we cannot just like put everything out there because some things might tank as single issues.
reissuing it later came in my head when you were talking about that because I think of that Manhunter backup story. I believe it was in the backup of like an old Green Lantern book in the '80s, and they did it like 4 pages at a time Manhunter story that people to this day talk about. Like this is a great story. You got to find it and everything. It's impossible to find, everybody. Trust me, I've tried. But they did that, and there was so much hype for it that they later on did, like, I think they printed like a 48-page special for it, so you could just have the
Mm,
story. Like, not a bad way to go about it. Like, hey, let's try 4 pages at the back of Upheaval and see if people connect to this character. Oh, it worked. Oh, let's keep doing that for the next 5 issues and see if we can get an issue out of it.
yeah.
Like, yeah, there's so many cool. Like, we can look back at comics and just be like, we can do all this cool stuff now that DC and Marvel won't do anymore because it's not feasible in the direct market, or not feasible in the mainstream as much anymore.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are doing that. By the way, I found that issue of Granite, the slab. I don't want to
Oh,
get you down, but it's down to $150. So
oh, that's cheap. That's cheap.
so everybody
You should
jump on it.
you should get that, man. That'd be awesome. I'd appreciate that.
As I told you, I'm not much of a not safe for work guy. I don't know how the missus would feel about that hanging on the wall. So maybe I'll get his new cover and she'll be okay with that because there's no nipples. That's fine.
Yeah, that is the most popular cover, and people Flops has just that great pinup style that like I've had people retweeting and just being like, not even that it's Granite, it's just that it's a Flops cover. People are like, new Flops cover coming, is out. You got to jump on this, and Flops did this one. He actually did those covers at the same time. I was like, dude, now that I have you, can I just get one more? Because Granite will be back. I don't know when, but I'd love to just have this. So I've been sitting on it for a few years, and Flops is ever the
Oh,
perfectionist. He's like, oh, this is old. Now, it's like I see some issues with it. I'm like, dude, it's perfect. You're just being like,
being an
crazy
artist.
because you're an artist. Yeah.
I'd love to hear about the Kyle Roberts cover too, because I love that you did a throwback cover that he obviously textured to look newsprinty as well. Or that's an art print.
Oh,
I'm
is it
sorry,
the
it's not
art
a
print?
cover. Yes, it's an art print.
That's the art print.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the incentive art print. He did that for Indietober, and all everybody that kind of did all this Granite stuff for Indietober said we could use everything for stickers or whatever we wanted. I was like, oh, this would be a great art print. So I have a bunch of other stuff like stickers and things that I'll use for further campaigns in the future. But yeah, that art print's really cool. Kyle did an awesome job.
Yeah. And these are all stretch goals, people. So the bookmark you have here too.
Yep.
Maybe I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I'm getting a Hercules feel from it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you feel that, but just looking at it, I'm just like, oh, it reminds me of the cartoon Hercules that I love so much.
Yeah, yeah, like the bookmark and
Yeah, yeah.
the design. Yeah, Ignacio did that one, and yeah, he's got very much has that type of style. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And then, so let's see, you got one, two, three, so 4 covers for people to choose from on the physical. Is the Benjamin Morris a virgin cover, or
That's a virgin cover. Yep,
that will be?
that's a virgin cover. Yeah, I didn't specify that, but that's a virgin. Partially because it's like there's so much art loaded on there. I didn't want to cover anything up, and I really liked it, so I didn't want to hurt his art in any way.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite artists in the scene right now. It's
He's great. I'm gonna have him do another one. I need to get going on part of the thing with ongoings now is like, oh shit, I constantly need to be churning out covers, so I need to jump on guys like him, and he's great because he does action scenes really well. So it's like if you want the action scene, he can do a pinup, but he actually kind of prefers like, oh, I have Granite fighting, this
yeah.
whole team. I was like, the whole team? You want to put the whole, this whole group of people in here? Go for it.
When I saw he was a part of this, very happy for him because, like I said, I think he's one of the best artists in the indie scene right now.
It's
But
great.
I was a little sad because his book Captain Scarlet is like my favorite thing, and
Yeah.
he started that new. I think he's still working on shipping out to backers, but he started a new arc for it, and it's just kind of. I know I heard like life gets in the way, but I'm just like, man, you're doing all this stuff. It's kind of how I feel about Jim Lee right now with Hush 2. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I see you doing other things, and almost I'm like, no, work on the thing.
Yeah, I know it's tough
But
because he's doing Geoglyph too for Summit, and yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. And yeah, there's a little Granite does a little guest spot in there too. He's got a couple of people. I love him drawing Granite, so I was like, he hit me up and was like, "Can I have Granite guest star in my book?" And I was like, "Yeah, by all means. Like, you're a fabulous creator. Use her as you will."
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said the 4-page backup stories. Are all these in separation anxiety? Because I count 3 of them.
There's 3 in separation anxiety and 3 in powerless. So on the page, if you keep scrolling down, there's at the bottom there's the powerless ones too, and they're all 4 pages done by different teams.
Okay. Oh, I see. You're like the character you're talking about, the Big Hero 6.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the gold one with the lightning bolt.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the creators really like him for some reason, and because I kind of put him as like one of the main ancillaries in the book. They're like, oh, Synthezoid is so fun. I wanna put Synthezoid in my comic.
I found it interesting. So you set yours in L.A. I know Travis, all of his are in Florida.
Hmm.
Why why not put them in the same city? Why not do a Marvel or DC? Well, I guess DC doesn't do it as much. Why not a Marvel where everybody's in New York?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we wanted to keep people a little separate for right now, so they wouldn't interact as much. Like everybody knows that people exist and everything. It's all a shared world, and some people are just coming up. But I think we were really trying to establish. Well, they were already in their separate cities anyway. These 2 characters, but I think we wanted everybody to kind of get their established places first. But to your point, maybe that's where the team book might be. It might be that they're based in New York, or they might be based on the moon,
Yeah.
type thing. So we'll have that kind of like common area where they're headquartered.
Yeah. You could also do like the West Coast Avengers as opposed to the regular Avengers, the Great Lake
Yeah,
Avengers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I have Synthezoid and Granite are already they're going to be part of a small team in LA where they're already kind of teaming up together, so they're going to formalize that a little bit, like kind of a smaller, kind of like a New Warriors type thing where they're just kind of like teaming up and doing city level type missions together. So I'll have that as sort of like a sort of happening in the back pages behind the scenes with Granite's friends. Obviously, Granite's powerless right now, but her friends are going to kind of formalize their team ups in a sense.
So yeah, Powerless right now. Obviously, that's kind of the story you wanted to tell with this. I'm assuming. I this I I guess you could not answer this because it might spoil, but I'm assuming down the line we'll see her doing more super heroics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, yeah, there's this story was just something that I wanted to tell, like how does a hero who is so famous and is used to the limelight, how does she then cope with that when she's no longer rich and famous and doesn't have her powers? And she was just this kind of like schlubby valley girl before and didn't really have a whole lot going on, and now you kind of see that she's totally lost. But no, Granite will be Granite again. I won't keep her powerless forever, but I have about a year's worth of stories where we're gonna see her just kind of coping with that, utilizing her friend network to kind of like fight crime, and her kind of take on this other like behind the scenes sort of identity. But she'll be back in true form eventually.
And did those stories come about because of Summit, or when you created Granite, did you have a plan to do something bigger with her, even if you weren't doing some, assuming everything was successful, which it was obviously going to be? Did you have kind of a broader plan for her before Summit, or did Summit kind of spark something and you were like, no, 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 we get past this and then we do this and then so on and so on?
Yeah, yeah, that's another good question. And I had 100% a plan this whole time that I wanted to execute on. That was one of the things when I came into Summit. I said I'm totally fine because you can explain anything by saying, oh, this takes place after separation anxiety or before, or jump
Yeah.
into the future. I was like, I have a plan that I really want to tell with this chick that's doesn't have her powers anymore, and
Hmm.
how that messes with her, and how we can how you kind of cope with it. And it deals with a lot of things like body dysmorphia, and things like that. And I was like, I really want to focus on that story, and we can use Granite for the team book, we can use her for events, but I want to make sure that I tell my story, and that's kind of a deal breaker for me if I can't finish this out. And everybody was like, no, you tell your story. That's what Summit's about. You do whatever you want. And then we have events that have a bigger thing going on, and if we feel like maybe it messes or it doesn't make sense, it messes too much with what's happening with your book, we just won't include Granite in it, and which is totally fine. But I think a really easy way to go about that is just put in an editorial caption to say this takes place after, this takes place before, so everybody knows what's kind of going on. And in the Granite sphere, it's like a couple weeks to a couple months. It's not like it's years of her. It's a year's worth of stories to me because it's going to take me a year to get them all done. But in the comic sphere, she's not depowered for forever, so it won't mess with continuity too much.
It's easy to put it into continuity, like you said, with the little disclaimer, and then you add like a page that just ties it into everything else. Like,
yeah, it's easy. Yeah, we'll do that.
I love superhero comics. I do. And I love big continuity and all that. I feel like that's why we're all here at the end of the day. As much as we love the indie books and we love these like cool stories like Saga and Walking Dead and so on and so on. At the end of the day, I like to believe that 99% of us are superhero fans. But I will admit at the end of the day, the tie-in book, like the quick tie-in, it's not that I could write them. They're not that hard.
Yeah.
But to tell a great superhero book is very difficult. Like I'm not taking
100%.
anything away, but
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason there's only, one Jonathan Hickman and, one, I don't know. I
Chip
don't know who
Zdarsky or...
Yeah, I don't know who your top guys are, but for me, it's Moore, Morrison, Hickman, and, Wade, Peter David, God rest his soul. So it's like, those are like the best ones that they could go on any title almost, and you're going to get a good comic out of it. Like anytime you see Jonathan Hickman's name, you're like, okay, that's going to be really good. But yeah, I mean, it's a great point that you see some of those tie-ins, and I've read some too where I'm like, shit, feels like this could have been written by anybody. Not a lot happened, didn't solve for anything. It's just a way to smash a character into an arc.
And I've seen the page that I'm like, I could tell you added this on just so it could like lead into X.
Yep.
Like I firmly believe that for Civil War, one of my favorite series, event series ever, the whole like lead into Iron Man's story into Civil War, I'm like, somebody wanted to tell the story of Iron Man alcoholism.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of it. And then it's like, well, how do we tie this in? Because we got this big Civil War thing that Mark Millar and Steve McNiven are doing. How do we tie this in? Oh, that's the thing that makes Tony want to register superheroes. Okay, just add it at the end.
Yeah.
Like, it's great and it's brilliant thinking, but it's it's an easy just one page slip in and we all move on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the continuity stuff is some people say they hate it and then some people like really like it. I wish Marvel would get back to, and DC would get back to the editorial boxes, because I think it makes people want to find old issues. So there's always reference to stuff that's happening. I was just reading Avengers versus X-Men from like 2012 the other day, and there's a lot of reference to things in there, but there's no editorial boxes. And I was like, man, when I was a kid and I read something and I saw that editorial box, and if it intrigued me, I went to my comic shop and I went to the back issues and I found those issues. And I think they do themselves a disservice by not doing those anymore, because I think they're not helping comic shops sell any of those back issues. Because it's not like they've gotten away from reference. It's still all there. They're just not saying where it's coming from anymore. Like, I still see it loaded in comics, like, oh, like, remember when this happened and this, but you're like, well, when, where the hell did it take place?
And not everybody's like my shop. The guy who runs my shop, a good friend, but he's been reading comics forever. He's, in his late 50s now, and he's got such a knowledge of continuity that if something happens like that, and I'm like, that's a really cool idea, and he'll just be like, yeah, it happened back in 1982 in this issue of this character, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You should check it out. This story, it's great. And he can even like pull it up on his catalog and be like, I can order you a trade if you want. Like, he's a great salesman, but he also has that great knowledge that not everybody has. So, and like you said, I hate that when they do use it now, it feels like they use it as a joke. And I'm like, we could still, it'd be funnier to use as a joke if you were still actually using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, and they were even doing that even up until like the early 2000s, and I feel like it's really gone away the last like decade or and maybe even 20 years, but I even in the 90s you saw it all the time. There
Yeah.
was always reference to other arcs and things that happened way in the past, like in Marvel books. It'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, see Dark Phoenix Saga, as reference in an X-Men book."
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I definitely want to do that. I did a Batgirl fanfic a while ago, and I just heavily referenced everything because I did it with my buddy Moy, and I like got all these old Batgirl issues from different things like The Killing Joke and like Batman Confidential, and I pulled them all together, and I was like, I want the captions in all of these so we can draw on them.
Well, yeah, and it's like you said, I like to read a lot of. I've been saying I think this late '70s into the '80s is like the sweet spot for comics for me because it still has that classic art style that we had back in the day with Kirby and everything, but the stories matured.
Yeah,
Because listen, no offense, we all love Stanley. I love Stanley. Not the greatest writer.
no, an idea
But
man. Like, yeah,
yes, great
yeah,
ideas, and I thought he had great arcs that he wanted to tell. But like his dialogue, and it was just, I think it was part of the times. We can excuse it all day, but once
yeah,
you get to that late '70s into the '80s, you still have that style, but the story's mature enough, and you still have those. I
yeah,
love those moments where like I'm reading old ROM books, and it'll say in there when the X-Men show up, go back to this issue of Chris. This takes place in between this issue of Chris Claremont's X-Men run.
yeah,
Go back to this to see why Rogue feels this way, and so on and so on. Like, and those, as someone that doesn't read a lot of X-Men, I'm like, oh, that was interesting. Maybe I should go back and read those issues. Like you
yeah,
said, it works. And
yeah.
especially in a day and age where everybody has a digital presence for these books, like it's so easy to go back and get those books that why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's money on the table, and especially now when a lot of pirating sites like are gone, like so it does lead back to real revenue, whether it's digital or through comic shops. Um, I mean, it used to be that you could find like on Pirates Bay and a lot of those things, you could find torrents of things. There's really only one site anymore that has comics on them for free, and I feel like it's getting harder to find stuff on there. I think they're kind of getting the hammer nailed on them a little bit, which is good because I don't like those sites because it takes money out of creators' hands and the publishers' hands. So yeah, I
And
think it's a good upside to continue to try to market past issues.
yeah, and to the credit to our industry, Marvel and DC have done a great job of making those available in a legal sense where they can still profit off of them.
Yeah,
Like you feel how
yeah,
you want to feel about that, but a product was made, they own it, they should be able to profit somewhat off of it. And hopefully, I fingers crossed, I would hope that some of that money goes to the creators and the people who made them. I know I'm being naive, but I like to hope that maybe it does.
yeah.
So
There's
but there
revenue.
is a legal way for you to get these books now, and they've done a great job of making them available. I mean, I've been in love with DC Universe Infinite and Marvel Unlimited recently. Like, it's so great. I'm like, I really want to read some Hercules. Oh shit, it's all on
Yeah,
Marvel Unlimited. Like, hell yeah, the Greg Pak story and everything.
yeah. Yeah,
So
it's a great way to get them. Digital's great. You have to have a digital strategy. Now, I have way too many comic books. I don't love digital, like I have a lot of them, but I like to feel the tangible comic. I like to turn the page. It's just, but it's crazy, like I mean, you've got a ton behind you too. I've got so many freaking comics that it's like I'm going to be buried alive in these things pretty soon. So I'm going to have to start doing more digital or being pickier, and maybe converting to digital like sooner or later because
that
I can't keep like doing this.
that is where I am. Like, I am slowly but surely like whittling away at my pull list and just going more digital. There's certain books I'm still going to get physically.
Yeah.
I think of someone like Daredevil. I'm always going to buy Daredevil. That's like one of my favorite characters of all time. Captain America, like favorite character of all time. I'm going to get these books no matter what.
Yeah.
And I want them in the boxes. But like certain ones, they're great books and everything. But like I can wait 2 months for it to be on Marvel Unlimited and pay for that service. And then I said it's unfortunate for a lot of indie creators, but like also because of that same problem, trade waiting, man. I'm turning into a trade waiter for a lot of indie books.
I am too. Yeah.
I think like everybody's talking about Dork right now. I want to read it so bad. Like it looks like so much fun. I love Brett Bean's art. I love the story that he's trying to tell. I'm probably gonna have to wait for like what 8 months from
6 months.
now,
Yeah,
whenever it
yeah.
comes out for the trade, and then I'll read it. And then
I'll
I'll
do
have to
the
wait
same.
another year to get the second trade. But that's how it's got to be because of space and everything.
Yeah, and it's more affordable that
Yeah.
way too. Like you get, it's a little bit cheaper, all the per issues. It's a little bit less per page, you
Hmm.
know. So, and it's nice to put them on shelves
Yeah.
too. It is nice, but I agree. There's just certain things like I have to get monthly. Like if Grant Morrison has a comic coming out, I'm getting it monthly. Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. Like I just have to get it, and then I'll probably get the omnibus later. I know that, but I might just turn around. Like I'm trying to be good about going through my comics and purging every once in a while and being like, okay, like I bought this omnibus. I don't need the singles too, right? So
Yeah.
I've been trying to like sell those on eBay and give them to somebody else, and I'll just keep, one thing
Yeah.
instead of multiple copies.
Yeah. I've been trying to get better at that too.
It's
It's so
hard,
hard.
man.
It's so much work to sell them too.
Oh, you have to load it on eBay and you're still holding it for a while. You got to load it on there and it's like, oh God. I mean, stuff that I know would never sell, I kind of just like give away to. Like, I have friends that have young kids and I'm like, okay, nobody's gonna want this kind of beat up issue of, Conan from 1980 or whatever. And I'm looking
Oh
on eBay, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many issues and some are in way better condition and they're only selling for a couple bucks. So it's like, is that even worth it? And no, so I just give them away then to like kids to help,
I
hopefully help promote reading.
yeah. I'm lucky that my local shop will buy them like a long box of those books. He's like,
Nice.
I'll buy them sight unseen for $50. He goes, they're going to my dollar bin. He goes, but if you have gold in there, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like it's on you. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Fair
don't
enough.
see $50, you take it, and then if
Yeah.
you forgot that you
But
had, X-Men #1,
also,
you're
yeah,
mad.
also a friend. If he finds the book that's 4 grand or something like that, I'm sure he'll call me and be like, you know, dude, I'll hook you up a little bit here.
Yeah,
But
I'll give you
yeah.
$1,000 or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so you've been super generous with your time, but we brought up something that actually I haven't thought about until we were talking about Granite Summit, a lot of that. And you said the magic word, the digital strategy. Do you guys have a digital strategy or
Yeah, on
Global
our
Comics,
website.
I'm assuming?
We on our website we have the PDFs, and we don't have our like scrolling strategy, I guess, figured out yet, but that's coming. We have to have one. Whether we're gonna, I don't know who we're partnering with yet, but Global Comics, I think, is the one that probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But Travis will dig into that and see, how we want to go about that. But yeah, you definitely have to have a digital strategy to keep those revenue streams coming in.
Yeah, definitely. So very cool, man. So Summit Comics presents Granite Powerless #1. It's a Star Wars esque comic book title. But
Yeah, yeah.
on Kickstarter right now, anything else about the book that you really want to say that we haven't gotten to,
I
or any
don't think
last
so.
pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love people to just check it out. We've got some great covers. They're all really popular. I'm really happy that there's sales on each cover, and I have more of the get everything sales than I have ever had before because all the covers are good and people can't pick just one. And I discount that combination a little bit. So
Hmm.
like really if you were to go dollar for dollar, that should be, $90+ that tier is at, but it's at 75. So I discount it down a little bit. So you're basically getting the cover A for free almost. Like it's a really good deal, and I think that's why people are jumping on it. So I'd love people to just check out the book and buy it and get whatever tier they can afford. I'd try to make it all the way down from the basic digital as cheap as I can offer, all the way up to the collectors, with the variants. So I think we've got a strategy on there for everybody. I just love people to pick up the book.
Yeah, and I honestly I do not say this a lot, but there's not a bad cover in the bunch, and that's not always true. as much
It
as you want to
isn't.
say.
It
Like,
isn't. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
trying to be cognizant, and not to say that I won't have a bad cover someday, but I'm trying to be cognizant of that.
But yeah, it's all the covers are great. Even and to my audience, this says a lot. Even the flops kind of sexy cover, awesome. It's so good. And how he handles it and how he did it is just great. So definitely everybody should check it out. Are you pushing any social media? Where should we send people outside of the Kickstarter to follow you as your as Summit and you grow further?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter or X a lot, at Siege the Hudson, and Blue Sky too. Same thing at Siege the Hudson.
All right. And everybody out there, check out the show notes down below. I'll have links to this Kickstarter campaign so y'all can check it out. I'll probably throw in the Summit Pinnacle because that is still going on as well. Both of these projects that CJ's involved with are completely funded. So everything you back is guaranteed to come out and guaranteed to probably get some cool stretch goals down the line. So but definitely check both those books out and everything. So CJ, it's just been an absolute pleasure chatting with you again. We can't
Yeah,
let 3 years go by between the next one, but
yeah,
I just appreciate you spending the time tonight.
yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.